In the summer of 2020, there was a lot of talk of canceling history, of trying to change our past. Well, you might be surprised to learn that history sometimes does change. We do rewrite the past to better reflect our present times. In August of 2020, the President of the United States claimed that his opponent in the November election removed a word from the Pledge of Allegiance. He and others might not realize that the pledge has changed several times in history. We've canceled parts of it and added others. Let's take a look. The pledge was originally developed by Francis Bellamy in 1892 as a commemoration of the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus arriving in what would later be called the Americas. The 23-word recitation looked very different from what schoolchildren today say each morning in school. Accompanying the words, which are 5 fewer than our modern versions, was a ritual to be carried out daily. The routine is listed in the Youth's Companion, a children's magazine published in the 1890s, and it instructed students to stand in ordered rows, hands at their sides, to begin the pledge at the direction of the principal, and at the phrase, "To my flag," would raise their hand palm side down towards the flag. We'll pause on the optics on this and come back to it in a moment. As the pledge was in its beginnings around 1900, America was going through its biggest wave of immigration in history to that point. By 1920, 14 million citizens would claim that they were born outside of America's borders. That's roughly 13% of the country. There was a growing worry that those reciting the pledge and saying, "To my flag," might be thinking of their flag of their birth country and not the American flag. So in 1923, they changed the phrase to read, "To the United States of America." Now back to that little hand gesture. By the late 1930s, the world was watching Nazi Germany rising as a power and a threat to Europe, if not the world. And by 1939, they would begin a war that would drag on and engulf the world for 6 long years. A key part of German life at this time was the saluting of the flag in the same manner, hand and arm extended towards the Nazi flag. America did not want to draw comparisons to the Nazis, and so in the early 1940s, the flag code was modernized at that point in time and changed from a salute to placing the hand over the heart. So twice there were situations in modern America that dictated changing history. There would be a third. In post-World War II America during the 1950s, a new threat to America's way of life came from the Soviet Union, now largely Russia, where communism had taken hold. This political and economic-based ideology was opposed by many Americans. One of its key ideals was the removal of religion from people's lives. America is a religiously diverse place, but religion plays a key part in the lives of most citizens. In 1954, at the urging of President Eisenhower, Congress added the words "under God" to the pledge. Now, there are those who claim that the specific words "under God" were added and chosen as a centennial celebration of one of Abraham Lincoln's greatest speeches, the Gettysburg Address. In that speech, Lincoln closes saying that "this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom." Interestingly, the motivation for Bellamy to write this pledge, along with the accompanying ritual of ordered rows with a salute, was to indoctrinate young people to obey the government. Around the time of the pledge's creation, Bellamy spoke on behalf of the National Education Association and told a sponsored gathering, quote, "The training of citizens in the common knowledge and the common duties of citizenship belongs irrevocably to the state," unquote. He had toyed with more socialistic phrasing of the pledge, but knew that it wouldn't be accepted. So like much of American history, the Pledge of Allegiance has a complicated history, and in this case, being a continual part of our lives, has evolved over time as the thinking about our society has changed. In its first century, the recitation and the routine of the pledge was altered 3 times. It begs to ask, are we done revising the Pledge of Allegiance, or will there be another change in the future?